Hello, folks, and welcome to First Aid Spray, a podcast and creation team for fans by fans. Every now and then, we open up the room for a quick discussion on subjects away from the usual stuff we do and just chill for a bit. We call these a moment of relief, and Steve suggested a really lovely idea recently, talking about cozy, comfy holiday games that we tend to play during this season. So joining me on this fireside chat are folks I hold very dear to me, Steve.
Hi, everybody.
And Burger.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
Yeah, so I put some talking points together, and one of my first ones is like, I think it's very important to kind of establish like kind of what makes a cozy game cozy for you.
Okay.
And we'll start with you, Bergs.
Sure.
What is it that makes a cozy game or a holiday game for you? What brings you back to it during this time?
So there's a quote that I use a lot. I think I've mentioned it on the show before by a fellow named John Learned in a YouTube series he did called the Symphony of the Night Retrospective. Great YouTube series. But in that, one of the things that he says about Symphony of the Night is that the game is a warm blanket.
Yeah.
And to me, that's about like when a game feels good to you have the controller and your buttons feel like they're in a good spot. You feel really in control of the game, in control of your character, in control of their journey. And it's easy to play. Like it's not hard. Your buttons make sense. You're actioning your things correctly. Overall, I think it also is a level of like comfort and quality with the game itself, because it could not be a great game. It could be an okay game, but it's just one that you like. Which is ultimately speaking, I think the coziest part about a game is the one that you like. So I think other games that we all have our ideal comfy games.
We'll essentially be going straight into them after this, just to keep everybody on tenterhooks. But yeah, I'm very similar to you, Bergs. I think we almost say very similar things. Where it's like I put down in my notes, like it's a game you could just sink into. Like you got no thoughts behind those eyes. You know, you're just
empty gameplay.
Exactly, you're just playing. You know, for me particular, I enjoy around this time particularly because I'm normally the person that gives as well. Like I enjoy a lot of wholesome community interaction during this time. You know, because a lot of people, they're kind of in the same boat as you, so they understand, this is a time of giving. Everyone wants to, give this time of year. And it just makes this time of year, particularly in gaming for people who have a lot of experience in a certain game, it makes it very enjoyable for me from my side of things. And it allows us to be just human with each other as well, and get in touch with our human side again. As well, and there's some games that kind of they promote that human side, like everyone, and also everyone has time, during this time as well. Like it's a rare thing unless you work in retail. And speaking of retail, Steve, what makes a comfy game for you?
See, this is a very nebulous grey area, but for the sake of the holidays and winter, obviously winter theming doesn't have to be Christmas theming, but winter theming I feel is kind of important, right? To get the vibes. I'm talking like not necessarily blanketed in snow, but it certainly helps. Amber leaves, like that kind of temperate environment. Failing that, I find a lot of comfiness even across the board in repetition or minimal pressure. So, like, it can be a game with a narrative, but generally speaking, minimal narrative pressure is best, and a softer, less harsh vibe where you could just kind of, I don't want to say mellow out, but
you can almost get into a Zen flow state with it, you know?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
the idea of like not having a narrative because you just kind of go with whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it can entirely be. It can entirely be. Like it's just I find it a lot easier to if it does have a narrative, it can be packed away. You can just ignore it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because like both of my I mean, I have loads of cozy games I tend to play around this time of the year, but there's two particularly that I always go back to. Yeah, and those are two extremes, and that is Path of Exile and Stardew Valley.
Ha. Ha.
You know, and like Path of Exile, like it has pretty much zero narrative. Which is why I mentioned that, Steve, because it has a story, but, you know, once you've played it, the amount of times I've played it, you kind of don't listen to the story anymore. It's about getting to, you know, the end game and then just chilling out and clicking your screen until big explosions of loot happen. Yeah, and then, like, the opposite problem is Stardew. I say problem, it's not a problem on either thing, but with Stardew, it's like, yeah, I have like there's a definite kind of structure to my day every time I start up. But yeah, before I go into that though, Steve, what are your go-to cozy games, comfy games to play around this season?
Okay. Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like I love to just jump into a world, a fresh save from spawn. No, it has to be survival. I don't know why. Like, and find the nearest like open space that I'm going to build a fort. I'm going to spend the next week building a fort, and then I'm going to build a trench, and then I'm going to do this, and that it stops eventually. We get about as far as making contact with the village and trying to build a rail network or something. Just enforce this. But the idea is, I make my own mark in the world, and I want to make something really cozy and comfortable and build a home. Failing that, recently it's fire up like a brawler, like for example a Yakuza game, and literally roam the streets, play the mini games, and get into as many fights as I can enjoy. Because unfortunately, I do find quite a lot of catharsis in the violence in those games. It's not a problem because I won't say it is. The only other ones is like anything where there is loot drops. As stupid as it sounds, like if there's a game where you have like a 0.01% chance of a loot drop, I don't mind. It can be Elden Ring trying to just farm this one sword. I will find coziness in the repetition of go here, kill guy. Okay, reset the scene, go there, kill guy. You know, but no, the main go-to Minecraft, really.
That's a great choice. Minecraft
I get that. I like
we go back to that every couple of years, like with Minecraft. It's just a great game to dump into. Bergs, what are yours?
So I'm gonna have control. I've never been a big Minecraft fan. And my Minecraft experience was very traumatic. So I've never played it again. But
we'll talk about that on the Minecraft.
That's the Minecraft podcast. But like, so my two, I picked two. I was really passionate about. And I want to talk about was Control and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Now, two games that I've never mentioned I liked ever.
I don't even know what they are.
I've never heard of Control.
Never heard of Control. What is that game?
Damn. How about you, Steve? You ever heard of Control?
Jesse Faden, right?
Yeah.
Objects of Power. The Hiss, never heard of it.
I said a controversial take recently in another board, Bergs. I consider Control to be a better game than Alan Wake.
Absolutely, it's 100% a better game than Alan Wake in every way. And I don't care who does it. I like Alan Wake. I like Alan Wake a lot, but it's not the first time I said you can kind of skip the first one.
I like how you both just fire a harpoon straight in my heart and like, yeah, let's just carry on with the podcast. It's fine. Steve's
I'm so sorry, Steve. You know I love you, but like Alan Wake 2, Alan Wake 1, I should say, is very much a game made in 2010.
Okay.
But Alan Wake 2 is amazing. Best survival horror game to come out in the last half decade, I should say.
Half decade.
Terrifying. Yeah, last 5 years. I said what I said. The control is great. I like it a lot, and I play it frequently because it's cozy. When you're playing it, it feels good to play. As you engage with the game world, you like learn about the world along with the main character. It's another game. See also games I wish I could like play again for the first time. Because like Jesse's confused and you as a player are confused because the game is explaining it to you the same time Jesse is learning to it. And I think that game does that like level of storytelling in a way that not a lot of other games can capture. And then like you get to do really cool stuff. And as you're starting to feel more comfortable with controls, Jesse's too feeling more comfortable with her powers. And like she starts being able to oh, that's fucking cool. Like this stuff is really nice. And then you get to the ashtray maze.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to talk about beyond that.
Yeah, no spoilers.
For reasons that you both know.
No, I've never played this game.
You never heard of it.
We want to like if like our viewers, if you're listening to this, you just need to experience the ashtray maze, like as it was intended. Like it's great.
Just go into it. Play Control. Don't do it with a guide. You can turn off dying, which is fine, I think, and the game's still enjoyable because you still die because the platforming is still also challenging and engaging as well. And you can fall into a hole. So I think that's perfectly fine to play Control as a narrative experience as well.
Remedy games and their musical numbers really leave.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh my goodness. We're not going to talk about Alan Wake 2 and how great Hail the Darkness was.
I've still yet to experience, but I will.
It's okay, James. I love you. So the other thing is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night is a game that I've never heard of or mentioned ever once in my entire podcasting career. It's not like there's a podcast of me talking about it for 2.5 hours. I love this game so much. I recently just did it as a randomizer. I had a great time doing an archipelago with a bunch of friends, and we like 9 different games, and 4 of us were playing Overcooked as our. It was so neat.
Oh my god.
It was wild. And I had a really build right out of the gate. And just walked through the game, which was awesome. And I think that's something that I can play. Is I get randomizer runs now. I can get it because it's a game that I know so well that I could walk through it, and then I was able to do it and have a lot of fun and just get blocked in a weird way. I ended up kind of I think I ended up using a gimme because. I misunderstood an option, so I was gated behind one of the Ring of Vlad, for 2 hours, and I was like, God, it's 3 a.m. I want to go to bed. So we was okay, Burger, get Ring of Vlad, and then I went and finished the game, and then everybody else was able to leave because I had 87 checks in it. There's so many checks in that game, so anyway, I like it because it's a game that defined a genre so much that it's still one of the best. People talk about Metroidvanias all the time, and I get that Super Metroid was the first one, but it's still good, and it speaks to them as games that the two things that spawned this genre, this Metroidvania genre, are still two of the best examples of that genre in the genre 30 years later.
And if you want to learn more, you can go listen to the 2.5 hour Castlevania podcast.
Please do. But yeah, those are my 2 cozy games. I've got, other you talking about building Mosaic Satisfactory a lot. That's the one. That's my Minecraft, and I do the same thing where I just like to just jam out and make capitalism happen.
I got Oxygen Not Included on sale a couple of days ago. Mm-hmm. And I've been thinking about dipping into that because I think that's a single player game, and I've been thinking about dipping into that. But yeah, I feel like we've gone through the next question a little bit, which was how do these games help you survive the holiday chaos? Yeah, I'll say what I have to say about this, but yeah, I have said it a little bit, but Path of Exile is super comforting to me. It's it's a game that I've played for over 4,000 hours now. Over a decade of time. I recognize it. Every time I start it up, I see that global chat. It almost feels like a real dysfunctional family, you know. So it's quite immersive in that respect. But yeah, seriously, I know the game. It takes a little work, but like eventually, when you settle into a groove, and this probably is true for other games as well, and reason why it kind of is so cozy for me. But when you fit into a groove with this game and just play while you're listening to music, and then you see someone on global chat say, "I need help on this boss," and you're like, "I'm there. I'm there to help you. It's Christmas." You know? But even
That's it, isn't it?
It's not even Christmas I do that. But yeah, like I really try to keep an eye out on helping people during this time. And I'm like, I know how crappy this game feels when you first start out and how intimidating it is. So I want to help you like understand the game. And if you need help with a boss because your current build is like not right for it, then I will help you and then I'll give you the tools. That's my gift to them, you know. Yeah, then you got Stardew, which is like, it's just, I mean, I'm a basic bitch, you know, as well, apparently. You know, the basic bog standard of comfy games. You can't beat it. It's not broke. You know, every playthrough feels different. Like my current playthrough, I'm essentially making friends with everybody, and I've been like making some wild choices, and it's just been a great time. You know, it's a game that's it's nothing but giving and receiving. You know, which I feel like a lot of games. That's what games are, right? They you know, you give the game your time and you receive your enjoyment, but like it's. Like with Stardew, like you're literally giving these like, you know, fantasy people stuff and they give you really good rewards. And yeah, and it's also like help your fellow neighbor out. No obligations, which is how things should be. And it's like, I want to help you out.
Vibes as a like an Animal Crossing kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Except it's like, it's way more complex in my opinion than like Animal Crossing is. Like it's
Stardew.
Yeah, like, I mean, I won't get into the intricacies because that's a whole podcast. But like, yeah, it's like, and each choice you make has, you know, one thing we're missing from games, I think maybe recently, is like choices kind of been stunted a little bit. And like Stardew, it feels, you know, no matter what, I make different choices, and depending on what choice, like I accidentally, there were two people who were having like, I put this in quotes because I do not believe it was this, but we're having an affair, which is what the game called it. Like these two single people were having a relationship, and I found them in a bush making out in Stardew. Like during winter time, and I like, as I was I was coming back from a late night like mining run, like, and I find them in a bush and they just kind of jump out, and it's I won't say who it is just in case, you know, spoilers, etc. Right? But because it was really funny to me, right, and I was treating it like it was a joke, like, so like they said, "You're not going to tell the whole village, are you?" And I went, "I'm going to tell the whole village." Like, to me, that was like, oh, this is a joke. And like, you know, why shouldn't everybody know that you're together and you love each other, you know? And yeah, but that's not what was going through the programming of the game, unfortunately, because when I did that, they no longer eloped.
They're not friends with you anymore, James.
Well, no, they're still my friend, but they no longer, because I said I would tell the whole town that they're an item. They no longer they are no longer an item. So I felt a little bit guilty about that. And my choices,
Crusher.
my choices since then have been a bit more thought out, rather than just treating it like it's a little bit of a joke, you know. Because I mean, to me, you know, you'd expect, you know, I would be like, oh, yeah, I'm telling everybody right now because this is hilarious, and also I want you to love each other endlessly. You know, I think everybody should know that. But the game obviously wasn't that complex. But yeah, I adore it. It's a great game. I would never get bored of it, and I think everybody should play it. But I think everybody has played it, so yeah. Anyone have anything else to say about how these games help you through this season?
Oh, yeah, like.
Sorry, Steve, go ahead. I should have said
that. Like I said, the whole point of making a thing, or going through and experiencing an event. Like it helps me find a port in the storm. Because unfortunately, I'm one of these poor schmucks who I see everyone breaking up for the holidays, and I'm like, oh, that's great. I break up on Christmas Eve, and I'm back in at work Boxing Day. You know, so I don't really get the holiday, so I have to find ways to recharge and re-energize. And that's how it helps. Like, you know, that moment, even while I'm busy being a dad, I can at least have the baby in one arm, and we could just experience a game together as I try and recharge. You know, it's the challenge. It's finding that way to like find the time to recharge. Otherwise, you just can't do it, and that's the benefit of these cozy games, at least for me. Like say in the in Stardew's case, especially playing with the Doll's House. I know that sounds a bit weird, with but it's actually the same concept, and it's perfectly fun to play with those like kind of digital lives. It lets you have a little bit more control than you may actually have.
Yeah. What about you, Bugs? Anything? Like
I think.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that there are. I think there's something to be said about revisiting, like things that you enjoy. I thought about talking instead of Castlevania. I thought about doing mentioning the remake of Resident Evil 3. Because like that's a game that's fun to play, comfortable to play. It plays beautifully, and it's tight. Like you can probably finish that game your second time through it in a single sitting without a problem, like comfortably, right? Like 2.5, 3 hours maybe. And you can do it, and you enjoy the story, and you know the way through it, and you get your. I like it like watching RoboCop, because watching RoboCop's always an experience for me. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And you have this experience, and it's good to just go back and revisit it. Sometimes I don't play. Like I don't always go back and play through Control again. They have a mission select now, so I'll go and do things that I like to do in that game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think they added a mission select. They also added one to Alan Wake 2, which I have to go play through. It's off the second time. I think it's important to know that the things that make a good cozy game are also just as subjective as they are objective. Because all of the games we talked about today are great in their own right. And you know the sales numbers prove it mathematically. So. But also remember that because it's cozy for you doesn't mean it's cozy for everybody. Like I know people who for playing Control is anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
So there's that to consider as well.
I have a friend who, sorry for cutting in a sec, but you just before I forget this, I have a friend who can't play Stardew because there's too much. Like it's like there's too much to do.
It gets really granular too.
Yeah, like I mean, the thing that's helped me is that like I've kind of split everything up. I've compartmentalized things day by day, so I can do that. But yeah, they can't play it because there's just it's like but if I do this and this will happen. It's like it's a compounding thing, you know. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. No,
and that's what I have. Thank you.
Are there like I put here? I wanted to kind of finish up with kind of shout outs to either games that are coming in the future, like one we discussed earlier, Steve, or maybe games that don't really get a lot of talk, you know? So are there any upcoming or lesser known cozy games or comfy games that you think everybody should play or should know about? Steve?
Okay, well, I mean, stuff like Unpacking, Townscaper.
Such a good
game. You know, those kind of games, I feel like you don't hear about them a lot because they can be one and done in an afternoon. Yeah. But they are really charming and heartwarming, I feel. And they give you that cozy feeling. Not necessarily wintry themed. Like, I mean, I've gone off on a full tangent about SSX and, like, you know, the surface levels in GoldenEye and how they feel very wintry and relaxing. As for upcoming games, these are the kind of games that I feel like I have to peruse a store, like it be an online or real storefront, and go, oh, that looks nice. Because it's never something I'll go out and seek. You know what I'm saying? It's something that will, like, unless it's like literally an RPG where it's got the right level of mannerisms or mechanics, or just a really, really strangely satisfying loot grind. It's a bit of a it has to land in my lap, kind of thing. Like, for example, if XCOM 3 was announced just this second, I'd be going, "Oh, there's a new cozy game for me." But that's because there's so many different like management layers, and you can actually like do all those weird things too. That being said, I'm going to pass the ball.
The macro and the micro, those games can take a lot of brain space. Yeah, Berg, sorry.
Yeah. So games that are out that are really like small, well known that I think are cozy. I needed to just confirm I was going to name them correctly. Miniature Motorways. Fucking fantastic little line drawing simulator. So you just draw lines. It's the whole game is just drawing lines, and your zone gets bigger, and you get more colors, and you get more building. Like it's bananas. I put too much time into Miniature Motorways. And two that I'm really excited about that I think are gonna be really cozy when they come out. Demon School, which feels a lot like if you flavored your chess like Persona. I played it at PAX Unplugged in 2023, I believe. Not PAX Unplugged, PAX East for the first time, and then I played it again when it was there earlier this year. It was in March. It was this year. So it was PAX East, and it's coming out soon. So I'm excited about that. And the other one that was coming up that I was really excited about was Hades 2. Yeah, which is in early access. But yeah, Hades 2 is another one that's going to be cozy.
It counts. Like Hades, man, I put so much. I mean, you know, Bergs. I put so many hours into that game.
I know.
I'm waiting.
Well, like just one more run, right? That kind of mindset.
Exactly. It really was. Yeah. LG last game. Yeah, I put so much time into Hades that with Hades 2, I'm like, I've held off on getting it at the moment because I went so deep into Hades that like I want it to be I want to see what it is. I want a fresh experience, you know, because I got Hades when it first came like into early access. So I was there throughout the entire experience. And now I'm like, I want to wait till it's fully released and then see what that's like, you know, and how I can experience that. But I really want to get that game. I loved Hades so much. I bought it twice on PC. I bought it physical for the Switch. I bought it digital on the Switch. I got on so many things. Yeah, great game. So there are a few for me when it comes to upcoming or lesser known cozy games. I have a bunch on my wish lists, unsurprisingly. But one came out a couple of months ago, and it's helped me visualize. So for folks who don't know, I'm a game master for TTRPGs, and I tend to make my own maps. And there's a game that came out a couple of months ago called Tiny Glade.
Tiny Glade's really good.
Yeah, it's just a sandboxy game where there is no real goal other than just to create small like villages and towns. You know, it's lovely. You know, not to date the episode, but it is on sale right now, so go get it if you can. And otherwise, I don't think it's that expensive. Really sweet aesthetic. I've been taking screenshots of it to use in kind of like when I'm trying to kind of introduce, you know, like a tavern or, you know, a town. I've been taking screenshots so I can use it. It's very good for that. The other one, this is not really a lesser known game or an upcoming game, but it's Disney's Dreamlight Valley. And I'm mentioning this game because I mentioned Stardew earlier on. It's essentially just Animal Crossing, but with Disney characters. Like, you build your house up, you have to pay the tax man for your house. And yeah, you just make friends with your favorite Disney characters, and just make your own base and stuff. And it's a long climb, but it's a solid game if you like AC Animal Crossing. I think it's less so if you like Stardew, but it still has stuff like farming and, you know, stuff like that. It's a full life sim in that respect.
You know, maybe it's just the way this podcast is unfurled and some of the topics we discussed, but I'm starting to think that a lot of what we consider cozy is our own appetite for construction. And or building, doing things that our forefathers would have done as a means of survival. We want to do as fun, and this isn't a bad thing. Obviously, it's like a piece of the world is returned to us digitally for us to live in, but not as a point where we are stressed out about it. Like, it's not the end of the world if a crop fails on something like Stardew Valley, is it? It's not the end of the world if a creeper blows up a farm. As opposed to in real life, if that happened, oh my god, dynamite creatures exist. It's
we must study them.
Yeah, I mean, this could go all the way back to stuff like Roller Coaster Tycoon and the like of that, Pizza Connection. The art of making something our own under minimal pressure.
Yeah,
am I onto something here?
Because like it's like we just want to be productive. I think that's. It's like, we've played these games because we're like, we want to achieve something, and these games are giving us like our avenue to make something that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do, because either we don't have the resources or we don't have the skills to. These games allow you to do that, and that's very cozy. It's very comfy. Yeah. Yeah, I one last one I wanted to mention. It's coming out in March, so we got quite a ways on this one. But I have I have kind of a wild take with this. All my close friends, well, actually, I've only recently started saying it, but like some of my close friends know about kind of my take on this. But it's the new Hobbit life sim called Tales of the Shire. Again, cozy, comfy game. You play as a hobbit, and you're just farming and being a hobbit. It's just a hobbit sim. How you expect a hobbit.
Sounds cozy.
Yeah. But there's one thing I want, and it won't happen, right? It won't happen. But I think it's hilarious, and it's how I like my expectations to be completely blown out the water. I would really love it if this cozy game with all these like lovely little cute hobbit people, and they're just like enjoying their lives and you're enjoying your life, and then suddenly Saruman turns up and it's the scouring of the Shire. The end of
that's a DLC pack for later.
Yeah. It's like, I would love it if like everyone's having a great time, and then suddenly fire and brimstone, the drums of orcs in the distance. Saruman taking revenge.
James is definitely a player that would, back in the day, have basically gone, all right, okay, this SimCity city is perfect. Summon Bowser. Destroy all of my work.
What are you going to say, Bugs?
So there's one that I have called Furthest Frontier. It's very like similar style of game, but it's like a city builder, but you're also on the frontier. So you'd be like, I'm like really getting into like how I'm macro placing my gardens. And then out of nowhere, it's people just notice my population dying. I'm like, what the heck is happening? And I look around, and there's just a bear just rampaging through my town, which is wild.
I love that. It's just a random bear.
Just a bear just wanders by and just starts mauling my townsfolk, which kind of just completely tanks a run sometimes.
Any other kind of recommendations for upcoming games or cozy games or things we want to talk about before we finish up the show?
Watch Severance.
It comes out in a few weeks, doesn't it?
Season 2, yeah.
Season 2, yeah. Yeah, excited about that.
Go watch Severance. That'd be my closing argument.
That is
not a new game. These aren't new games, but for not necessarily wintry, but cozy vibes in a weird way for me. Shadow of the Colossus. Traversing the map in that game can just be as dark and as grim as the narrative tends to be. It's kind of peaceful to get through. Another one is Journey on I want to say PlayStation 3. It's a bit of an older one now. That's a nice vibes game. No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I can't even friggin' mention No Man's Sky. I lived in that place. Again, makes sense for Steve building things and exploring and just not having any time pressure. But yeah, it's those are some bangers for me.
I went back to NMS recently, No Man's Sky, and like my base is still up and running, and everything is still like it's still going. Like, and which I was surprised about. I thought that like my run was going to be tanked because I've not played in like 2 and a bit years now. But yeah, I'm really hyped for like Light No Fire now, though. Their newer game that's coming whenever that's coming out. The one that's
I'll tell you what,
it's based on.
If it turns out to be a bad game, if that turns out to be a bad game, they are going to be rebuilding and building on that game for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, you can be sure about that. I mean, they did the same thing with No Man's Sky. I hope they kind of learn though from the mistakes they've done.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It does. Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody, for this chat. If you have any cozy or comfy games you like to play over the holiday season, let us know by coming to our very cozy Discord, where you'll also get first-hand news from us. And if you would like to support the channel, consider signing up to our Patreon for early access to our content. And finally, have a great new year, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.